So and then I'll weave into, you know, where I'm really at right now, like the real stuff, and then talk, and because it's the truth where most people are at, I think, and then talk about what I've picked up through the coaching, and that, you know, the transition that I'm going to be working towards, which is pretty much helping men that are in these kind of circumstances. I'm not saying this to promote myself, but I'm just saying the realness of where I'm at. And fuck, man, we can talk about politics, whatever, you know, like, but just for me, real shit. Yeah.
This is it. If it gets too much, like, we don't have to air this. So just keep that in mind. Like, if we get too into stuff, like if you're not comfortable airing it, like, we don't have to.
No.
Right?
There's a lot of things that I haven't shared. Like, you've heard a little bit about my story and stuff like that, and we've all got one. But I've realized that that's the reason why it's made it hard for me to enjoy building the business that I've been building, because it's not the business that's the problem. It's the product and it's the market that I'm dealing with. I'm not in the space where I'm meant to be doing my work, which is fucking healing. Yeah. And so, you know, that was the light bulb for me over the Christmas break. I was just like, man, why would I keep fucking resisting this shit? Like, you know.
Do you feel good with it now? Do you feel?
100%. Yeah. So now it's about getting the balance right of still bringing income in. Yeah. Whilst now building out and making a push to start communicating a slightly different message. So it's like, hey, successful guys, successful salespeople that are suffering from addiction. So you're making 6 figures, but you're pissing it up on gear, hookers, and you got shit relationships because you're just splurging out the cash. You don't have the structure. You don't have clarity on what you want to do next. Or you're selling something that's you're not fulfilled with, but you're addicted to the paycheck, you know? Yeah. There's heaps of that. And I just wasn't seeing it unfold.
Did that happen a lot in real estate?
Heaps, man.
Because there was a lot of money. It's a lot of money in real estate.
Yeah, bro. And even the 3 guys that did my pilot program, their results transformed in the first few weeks. I didn't talk about sales, man. Yeah. And then they asked me afterwards if I'm talking more around that shit, the personal development stuff, helping them get alignment. Yeah. That's what they wanted, man. They came because of the story. They needed
guidance.
Yeah. And they found a safe space to be able to get the support without feeling as though that they're inadequate. That's what us men do, yeah? We don't want to say where we're really at a lot of the times, because if we do, there's a level of inadequacy, yeah?
That's true.
And so we're like, no, I'm all good, you know, and we've got to plow through because we're meant to have the fucking answers.
Well, I read somewhere recently that the whole game of like why women are attracted to men, what men are attracted to in women, and it's like the whole reason why men go out to buy these, like, they can't afford like $100,000 watch, so they buy the fake replica. They dress good, you know. They appear to be something they're not, because women seem to be attracted. Like physiologically, is that the word? Biologically,
biologically,
they're attracted to the best person in that whatever it is that they're doing. So like someone was talking about like I think it was the Joe Rogan podcast. Yeah. They were talking about how like bowling, like it's not a sexy sport, right? Yeah. But there's always groupies, or there's always like the head, the main guy,
the king,
exactly. Yeah. And then there's girls that will be attracted to that guy because he's the best he's the best jungle.
He's the best performer. And so I think there's an element of truth to that.
Which brings me to the point, like that's why as men, like, we know that, right? Even on a subconscious level, we know that that's the case. Yeah. So we have to say we're okay, because if we say we're not okay, we're weak. And if we're weak, we're not the best.
Well, that's true, man. I think women look for stability in a man. So I think when they see a high performer, that from the surface they see there's some form of stability there, and that's what women are attracted to. How the man carries himself, how he portrays himself, and it's the same when a guy might not be as attractive, but the dude carries himself, and then all of a sudden you got this guy who's a 6 out of 10 or 5 out of 10 carrying a 12 out of 10, and people are like, how the fuck did that happen? But the dude just knows how to carry himself, so he's got this either swagger or charismatic, or there's this thing that he has, and then the woman's just like, I want that, you know. But I think with high performers, the perceived ones as well, that gets you to first base, but then for the longevity of a healthy relationship, that's when the curtains start to come back, and that's when either person finds out what's really going on. Yeah. And that's probably why we see such a high rate of divorces and you know, like, fuck, that relationship doesn't work. But on paper, they look like it was it was great, you know?
Yeah. like the curtains come out and like that guy that was being someone else, like, oh wait, he's a fucking
Yeah,
loser.
Yeah.
Or she's a loser.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. You know, all the there's still broken pieces from previous relationships or whatever.
Exactly.
And they're like, fuck, dude, you need to fix that shit.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's tough.
It's tough, man.
And like the peaking, like when people peak at their like at I say a high school level,
Yeah.
right, and then afterwards they got nowhere to go. Like they look for it. They look for these things where like where am I going to get the attention from?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
How am I going to get it? And then they start doing stupid things.
100%, man.
That plus
was
testosterone.
that was me to a T, man.
Really?
I was the class clown. I grew up in a very disrupted household, so my need for attention came from the ability to socialize and to have multiple friends and multiple groups and to be seen as the one that always was dicking around. And the challenge with that is that, I lost a lot of opportunity to learn or understand how to learn properly because I was too busy fucking distracting everyone else.
Trying to
and
find,
impress and shit.
Like trying to find acceptance.
Man.
Is that what it was?
Well, yeah. To the need to feel approved and validated and be seen, because at home as a kid I just wasn't seen how I needed to be in order for me to regulate. So I just sticked around, and then down the path of drugs and alcohol and all that kind of stuff to find. They say, and I've been doing research on drugs and alcohol as to why people do it, because when you first do it, it actually gives you the closest, it actually allows you to become present in a moment. And we're all searching for that ability to be present right here in this moment, like right now. Very rarely are we able to be like right where we're sitting right in front of each other and actually be here and not in the thought of, fuck, I've got to sort out this thing or this deal or my wife or my partner, whatever, and actually be in the moment.
Yeah.
And when you take alcohol and drugs, it gives you that for the moment. It's actually the closest form of pure presencing, but the problem is you don't get to stay there. It actually takes you up and then really far down.
Wow.
But the addiction is in how it makes you feel in that moment. But then the aftermath is the thing that's tearing fucking people apart. Yeah. As I experienced. Yeah. It's just one of those things. Human beings, we're all interesting yet awesome creatures, man. Like I'm fascinated with the human mind. Like I think that's part of the reason why I'm doing the work that I do. Yeah. Is because, as a kid, and I might take this conversation a little bit to the side, but as a kid, my parents suffered from there was a lot of violence in the home. There was a lot of alcoholism. There was a lot of stuff. We didn't have a safe environment growing up. And I remember once my parents were fighting and I was 11 and I couldn't understand what was going on. There was a lot of alcohol involved, and I ran into my room crying after separating them, saying, this is my mission to make it my pact to figure out why this shit happens so that no one else has to go through the stuff.
At the age of 11?
At the age of 11. Shit. And so when I look back at my career and all these transitions, and I became an electrician, a project manager, then I got into real estate, and then I found a bit of a groove there, and then I became a sales coach. A lot of it started to move towards working with families and helping people psychologically. And it was only until the last 12 months where that memory of me being 11 resurfaced, going through some really tough times building the business, and I was reflecting, and somebody's like, why have you got this desire to help people, Fabien? Like, where's this come from? And I'm like, fuck. And so I had to reflect, and in that moment I recalled me running into my bedroom, like crying, going, this is my mission to actually help people unblock and find out why these things are occurring. And proof is, all the books that I've kind of read around human behavior, psychology, all the NLP courses that I've done has all been geared around that. Yeah. And when I'm not feeling my best is when I'm not working in that space. Wow. So it's fascinating, man. Yeah.
It's nice that you've gone through so many industries. You've got so much knowledge of.
Yeah, man. Look, to be honest, there was a period of time, there was a lot of guilt around that. I thought, fuck, I can't hold a job. People were saying I was crazy for leaving electrical. I did it for about 5 or 6 years, or maybe 7 years. And they're like, dude, you're making good money. That's a great career. Like, why on earth would you change? Like, when I went in real estate, people were saying, man, you're crazy going into real estate. Like, you were earning great money. Like, why? And for a moment I'm like, fuck, I think my past is coming to haunt me, where no stability, no consistency, just chopping and changing, distracted and all that kind of stuff. But now that I've matured and evolved, I've actually looked back and go, well, I was trying to find the thing. And so I look back at that going, well, that's not me chopping and changing because I can't do it. It's me going, no. Where's the fucking purpose? Where's that alignment? Where is the thing? And so...
And if you thought of it as the way, like, you can't hold a job, you can't do whatever, like, that would have just, like, spiraled you down.
It did, but it was interesting because I then used it to fuel me.
Yeah.
Which was a good fuel at the time, but the wrong type of fuel for longevity. So when people said I shouldn't have got into real estate and I'm going to flunk it, and even one of the employees at the time, she's like, "Oh, are you new here?" I'm like, "Yeah, I am." She's like, "I'll give you 3 weeks."
Are you serious?
One of the ladies in the office, man, and I was like, "Fuck you," and because I'd
look at me now, son.
Yeah, exactly. And because of that, I used it as fuel to say, "Fuck this." But there was tons of times, man, I was going to quit. Like, the first 6 months in real estate, dude, I was sleeping in my car for 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
No, long, like half a day. I was meant to be out prospecting, looking for new business.
Yeah.
And I was getting rejected, the door slammed. I had no sales experience, man. Nothing at all. I was an electrician, man. I was like fucking putting wires together. And I would go to my car and sleep, man, because I was getting abused. Like, hey, piss off from my neighborhood. Like, get out of my house. Yeah, and I was like...
How long ago was the start of your real estate career?
2013.
Okay.
Yeah, 2013.
Were you with your partner then?
No. I was single then. Single, just moved into the bachelor's pad and, you know, the drill. You know, you got that... And then I met her not long after.
Oh, really?
Actually, yeah. So the bachelor's pad turned into, Netflix and chill. The boys wanted me out, man. Yeah, because they were having parties every weekend, and me and my wife, she wasn't the wife at the time, but we're like opening up the doors. Like it's like, guys, do you mind turning the music down? And they're like, what? 3 months ago, man, you were fucking dancing on the tables. You know.
Who'd you move in with? Who were your mates?
A couple of other boys, Benny and Justin, man. So long-time friends, and Chapel Street. We lived on Chapel Street.
No.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Dude, at that age, you'd be loving that.
Fuck yeah. In prime, and I just had the nice Audi. Just got into real estate, so I thought I was.
Dude, you were a catch.
Thought I was certified baller. Making $500 a week at the start, but I was like, I got this.
Yeah, bloody hell. I've never lived with my mates. I've never had that experience.
Oh, wow.
I only ever had one roommate that I met, and I only stayed for like a month.
Yeah.
And then most of the time I lived on my own or with a partner.
Yeah, wow, okay. Interesting.
I've never experienced that bachelor life.
Yeah, well, it's different, but it's good, man.
I can imagine.
Did you have some mates that did that stuff? Like, did you have a crew of dudes that moved in together?
No. Like, everyone was pretty independent. So my mates were from when I did engineering.
Yeah.
Like, we did electrical engineering together.
Wow. Yeah.
And, like, you have no money when you're studying.
Nah, man.
I swear, like, it was no money. I remember my first job.
So we've had similar paths and starting in electrical.
Yeah, exactly.
That's amazing.
I almost quit electrical engineering midway because I wanted to be a chef.
Yeah, wow.
But I'd never cooked at that point. Actually, no, I cooked like a little bit, but it wasn't a passion. I loved my food.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, oh my God, how good is this chicken? I should have been a food critic or something. And then after that, you just go into engineering and you start on a salary of like 70K.
Yep.
And you're making all this money. Like, what the fuck do you do?
Yeah, true.
So most of my friends just moved out. They all moved into their own place or with their partners and stuff.
Yeah.
So we never really had that.
Sounds like your crew was pretty much more mature than my crew.
Oh, you think? I think they still got some maturity.
A couple of my mates, a few of the boys still actually live together, and that was 6-7 years ago. So
really,
they're still in the St Kilda scene.
They just can't. They just love it.
I get it though, man. Like, you walk outside, it's a hot day, people are skateboarding,
it's nice.
Women are out. Like, if you're a guy, single, it's like, fuck, dude, coffees are great, food's good, beach is there. Like, as if you'd want to be like, a single guy going out way into the burbs. Yeah. And settling down on your own. Like, you just fuck, man. You just wouldn't, man. Like,
dude, that thing, like my bachelor thing, like when I was single for a period of like 5 years. Yeah. After my last girlfriend, I was single for like about 5 years. Like, I don't have that swagger. Like, I don't have that. Like, if a pretty girl comes up to me and talks to me, like, I get so nervous. I sound like such an idiot. Like, it's like those scenes, like they like, as a single guy, you'd be like, oh fuck, I just don't have what it takes.
Yeah. You do, bro. You do. I think you just got it in different areas, you know.
You reckon?
100%. Like, you know, looking at this pad that we're in now, like the full setup, man. There's a bit of bromance going on in here. Like,
it? I know.
yeah,
Like
man. So you got the creative aspect, man. I think you're probably one of those cats that like has the quiet time and then goes, hang on, this is what I want to have happen.
Yeah.
This is what I want to look like, you know. And it's showing, man, with the work that you do.
Nice, thanks, bro.
Yeah, man. Told you it's the bromance, man. It's the mood in here, man. And now cue the music.
I'll change our voices to something else. Dude, we didn't even introduce you. We're like 20 minutes in, we haven't introduced you.
All right, well, let's
do the introduction.
Yeah, man.
So what do we do? What do we want to discuss? What do we want to?
Sure.
What is your title?
Cool, man.
Let's do this.
Yeah, man. Well,
what do you want to be remembered as?
Well, what I want to be remembered as. That's a great question, man. I did a mission statement about a year ago, and my ultimate message or remembrance, if you will, is to impact the lives of families across the globe. That's obviously, you know, I've touched on a little bit earlier around my childhood, and I haven't gone into the full depths of it yet, but the reason why I loved real estate was because I helped families facilitate one of the biggest decisions that they had to make around selling their home, and help them prepare a plan as to what they were going to do with their money, how they were going to structure things, which most of them didn't really have a good comprehension of. And so I got a lot of joy out of helping them alleviate any pressure and stress that they were going through. Also facilitating divorces and shit. That's the reason why some people sell, or financial trouble. And so for me, it's like, well, you know, I'm a sales coach now, and I help individuals or, you know, businesses that want to increase their profits, but deep down, I'm not aligned with that. Like that's not me. I don't come home satisfied knowing that a client has made a truck ton of money. Like, I enjoy that. But what I'm more satisfied is when the client comes back to me afterwards and says that his relationship with his partner has been the best it's ever been by doing the program, or he knows himself better now, or he's connected with his kids better, or he's been able to reopen up a relationship with a fractured friend or relative that's been hurting him psychologically. And so that's what I fucking, you know, that's why I crack a woody, man. Like, in all honesty, that's the stuff. And so I'd realized only just recently, we were talking off air, that that's my calling, like that, remembering the trauma that I had experienced, and that is my burning desire to make sure that, you know, as many families as I possibly can, provide them the tools and the strategies that are required to provide not only healthy, resilient children, but a healthy household where both parties have the ability to communicate in a way that's, you know, that empowers them, not puts each other down, and that inspires their children as well. And so I think from parents, now that I'm a new dad with 2 kids, it's not what I'm saying to my kids, it's how I'm communicating with my wife that's going to determine how they develop.
Yeah, for sure.
But the problem is the children come along and we start course correcting them and telling them this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do. And it's going in one ear and out the other. They're going, well, hang on, how's dad operating with mum? That's what I'm actually going to do. I'll never forget, dude, like, I'm stretching on the floor. I've got a little boy, Leo, he's nearly 2. Newborn Mateo, he's like 10 weeks, and I'm rolling on a little, you know, those foam rollers on the back. And this hit me straight there. It was like, he lay down next to me and started rolling up and down on the floor. And I was just looked over and I was like, holy shit.
They do everything you do.
Like, just do everything that I do. Not the things that I'm telling him, hey, Bubs, you know, do this and like count that and how many chicken and whatever. Like, he'll respond. But the things that he mimics is me walking around the house when I'm sometimes on my phone too much with the headphones in, and him walking around putting a headphone in because he found it and going, yeah, okay, yeah, thank you, bye. And just, you know, doing all that stuff. And I'm like, wow. Yeah. And so I'd realized now it's around what I do for myself, like how I show up, and then how I show up around my wife and how we communicate is going to decide, or at least have a huge impact on the path that they create for themselves. Yeah. And so, you know, call me the sales coach. You know, some people call me the sales coach that doesn't teach sales. But as a consequence, the clients that I work with end up making a bucket load of money because they feel better about themselves. Things at home are fucking jamming, like they're just on fire. It means when they show up in the work world, it's like, oh, man, they're present, they're aligned, they're feeling good. And as a consequence, they make more money. It's like, you know, and I experienced that when I was only trying to teach sales, my business was suffering. When I was only concentrating on trying to make money, I was suffering. But the moment I went into service of, let me just see if I can help these people outside of work first.
Yeah.
And as a consequence, and proof was in the pudding when I trained all these sales guys, they were having up and down months. And when I interviewed them and I said, what's going on in your personal life right now? How's your relationships and what's going on there? The guys that were having the slumps and up and downs typically had shit going on at home.
Yeah.
Whether it was with themselves, financially, drugs, partners, whatever. And I soon started to realize it wasn't about the best script. It wasn't about the best technique and the tie downs and all the stuff that all these sales dudes teach. It was actually about helping them regulate what the fuck was going on at home. And as a consequence, they just showed up better.
Yeah.
Like you've had a fight with your missus, yeah? How do you feel?
It fucks you up.
It fucks you up, man.
Yeah.
Bad.
It's horrible.
And it can be days, it can be weeks. You don't know how long it goes for, but you can't think properly, yeah?
Yeah.
Your clients are talking to you and you're like, yeah, and then you're sitting there dwelling like, fuck. And if it's a really bad fight, then we suffer the consequences afterwards. And so
it's horrible. You feel so like not focused on your work, but when you're in a relationship with someone and you have a business, there's two relationships.
100%, man. 100%.
And to sometimes go in between the both is hard.
The balance of knowing what to give the attention to and when and how and.
But in that, I would 100% always rather have a better home life than the business.
Yeah, 100%. What's the point of having a mad business when the home life is fucking crap?
Exactly.
And that's what a lot of people end up work towards.
They forget about it.
Forget about it, man. And it's easy. And I learned from an old mentor, and he said to me, Fabien, don't get confused with the business and yourself. The business is separate to you. You are not the business. And I'm like, well, what do you mean by that? He goes, well, when something's going wrong with the business, I, at that point, was saying that there was something wrong with me. Like, I'm not good enough or fuck, I can't make this work. It's like, no, the business is just not working yet.
Yeah.
And then, and he goes, the reason why you want to separate them is because if something's going on at home, then what you don't want to do is bring that into the business. And now that there's something wrong with the business.
Yeah.
And it's learning how to differentiate that. And it's not switching off emotionally, but it's actually going, oh, well, if my business is having a crap week, it doesn't mean that my personal life has to have a crap week as well. But what a lot of us do is we blend both of them in.
And that's the key, right? Like to be able to not do that.
100%, man.
I've closed some of my biggest deals after we had a fight at home.
Yeah.
And because I brought that into the work and I was like I don't give a shit. Like that's the price, take it or leave it. Like I do not give a shit.
No attachment.
Yeah, no attachment. And
no attachment.
It closed.
See that,
and
man?
It was just so crazy.
And when you give a shit, there's a level of attachment. They smell it, they sense it, and then there's hesitation.
Yeah.
Powerful, man.
I know. So on that, I'm gonna say, hey Google, let's start that again. Hold on. Sorry, my phone's gone off. Stop. Hey Google, I have a business and I want to make a truckload of money, but more importantly, I want my home life to be perfect. Fabien Pataud, do I go to him? All right, cool. It gave me some list, but that is going to come up with your name next time because that's
wow.
It's an important thing that you're doing, I reckon.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Thanks, brother, man. It's look, it's about alignment. I think I was getting caught in choosing a business and then being attached to it, and then wanting to grow this sales business, but realizing that wasn't my passion. It wasn't getting me out of bed and I wasn't jumping for joy. And the stress that the things that I'm teaching now were the things that I've experienced with my wife, the pressure that the business brought into the relationship, the dynamics and them shifting. And the only reason why I feel comfortable doing it now is because through that process, we're able to work it all out. We're able to actually go, well, hang on, let's not we got stronger as the pressure mounted, as the finances dipped, as the babies came, all these dynamics changed. My health took a massive hit. Like, I was high risk of a fucking heart attack, and I'm 34, and I've got a kid and a kid on the way. When the doctor says you're at a high risk of a heart attack, and I look fit, I can run 10Ks. I did a couple of triathlons, so for me, I'm like, I'm fit.
Yeah.
that was the consequences of years of drug abuse, but then also fucking
stress.
doing something that I wasn't fully aligned with, the stress.
Yeah, stress is a really fucked thing, man. Like stress deteriorates your health so quickly, like faster than anything else, and we don't even know it's happening.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm getting these grey hairs here.
Yeah, man.
I only got them like in the last 6 months.
Yeah, I feel ya. That's about the same time you got the misses, though. Yeah. Edit. Don't say that.
But yeah, that's the thing, man. Like it's crazy.
Shows up in so many different ways, man. Our body's amazing though with how it stores stress and shifts it. But for everyone, it shows up differently, man. It can be weight, grey hairs, sleep. For me, it's I can't get out of bed sometimes, man.
Oh yeah, I get that too.
Sometimes
I can't go to sleep, and then I can't. Like I sleep 4 hours sometimes.
Yeah, fuck.
So business is like, for anyone watching or listening or whatever, like business is hard. If you're going to business, if you think that it's easy, like you just get a side hustle or whatever they call it these days.
Yeah.
Like be prepared to cry, to laugh, to just to be angry.
Yeah, man.
It's not easy.
Everything and above, man.
Sometimes I speak to some people and they're like, I've got a $500,000 job doing this thing for a company.
Yeah.
Right? Why am I doing it for a company where I can just go and do it myself? And I'm like, dude, listen, you are crazy right now.
Yeah.
As soon as you leave that job, you're going to fuck everything up.
It's going to hit the fan, man. Yeah.
These 50, 60-year-old guys that still have their hair, I'm like, they're the ones that stayed in the job. They were cushy, you know?
Well, they might have had a crack, but you're right, man. Like, I think what's hard though is building the wrong business.
Oh yeah, for sure.
That was my experience. But I think if you find the business that you're most passionate about, the business that I've seen scale or accomplish the things that they want to have just been able to simplify it. And I think when you're new in business, you tack on all these things. You're like, I need to do this. I need to have more. I need to give more. That's what people want. Yeah. But what I found is actually the reverse. It's actually like having just the one or two things that you offer and being fucking dynamite at that. If you're in a service-based business, as an example, and then getting good at that, and once you got the foundation, then expanding. You know,
one of our mutual friends, he told me he had when he started his business, he had 70-something products.
Yeah, wow.
And now he has 5.
Yeah.
And then he makes way more money now than he ever did. Yeah. And he laughs at me because I'm that person like, let's have 70 fucking products.
Yeah, and we can do this and we can do that.
Yeah, we can do everything. Even you laughed at me. You're like, bro, just relax.
Yeah.
I remember once I said we start with a blank canvas.
Yeah.
And like, you're like, oh, no, don't do that. Because just add stress.
But you're the creative guy, man. And I think anyone that's ballsy enough to get into business typically has an element of flair, stupidity, or creativeness. Yeah. And then it's about finding your lane. Yeah. So sometimes you might have the idea for the business, but you shouldn't be the businessman.
Yep.
Like, in my business as an example, like I'm way better at closing deals than I am at running my business. Yeah. And so in essence, what I discovered is that I needed to hire somebody that could run the business for me so that I could go close deals. Yeah. Instead of going, no, I'm the big wig. I'm going to run the business and I'll get some salespeople in or whatever. It's like, no, that's actually where I'm the best at,
Yeah. That's funny you say that. Like in one of the other guests that I had on, we were talking about how I was the creative.
Yeah.
And then I removed myself from the creative, let my team do the creative because they're even a lot better than me.
Yeah, wow.
And me run the business or do the sales. But I'm like, just from this conversation, I realized I'm so shit at sales. Like I'm not a salesperson.
Yeah.
So why am I doing that? Why am I trying to run the business, do the sales? Like I should be doing things like setting up this stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. Instead of give the sales to someone else to do.
True, man.
Or even run the business.
Well, yeah, we get to a point where we have to understand where our lane is and then just doubling down on that. And so the benefit is there's tons of salespeople out there that will work on different structures, and it's about finding them. But I think what's important though is that as a business owner, you must have the skill or at least some level of comprehension to sell. Yeah. Because if shit hits the fan, and I forget an old mentor of mine in real estate said that, you know what, Fabien, like if shit hits the fan and we can't cover our expenses anymore, he goes, sure, I have to let go of staff, that's a given. But he goes, then at least I know how to sell, so I can go knock on doors and bring business in. And he goes, but if I didn't have that skill and shit hits the fan, then shit hits the fan. There's no opportunity to bring the business in. So I think learning the skill of selling is a fundamental thing. But again, like what you've identified, if you're staying there all day or, you know, however many times a week and it's not allowing you to be in your creative space, in your genius zone, then that as a consequence is going to impact the business. It's going to impact the way you interact with your staff because you're doing shit that you don't like. But we have to do it for a period. But then the trick is to be able to get out of it as quick as possible.
Yeah, not everything's like the things that you do in your business is not forever.
Exactly. Yeah. But you sometimes find that you end up doing them forever because you've attached to it, you know, like it's like, oh, well, no, I've been always doing it this way, so I'll just keep doing it this way. Or when you hire staff, you've been fortunate to hire staff that are better than you, and that's perfect. But that doesn't always happen. We tend to hire people that aren't as good, and we end up micromanaging or coming in over the top and finishing off their work, you know.
So now I have the luxury of like we can do this while the team's sending emails, creating stuff, you know, working with our clients, right? Yeah. But 10 years ago when I started my business, I was micromanaging. Yeah. Because I didn't know how to run a business. Yeah. And still, I think I have no idea how to run a business.
You have more idea than what you used to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Definitely.
That's amazing, man. See, but, you know, and to have a team operating for you while you're doing this is an actual business. Yeah. And that, you know, that's what a guy said to me when I first started. He goes, Fabien, you don't have a business, dude. Like, you're a consultant, you're a coach, but if you're sick this week, you're not eating, dude. Yeah. He's like, a business is when you have the ability to step away and things continue running. And I was like, oh, yeah, shit. So it was a wake-up call. He's like, you're a glorified employee that has way more stress, that probably earns less money than what he could working for somebody else. And so it was a light bulb moment of, fuck, I need to change the model here. Yeah. I need to restructure things. Yeah.
It makes so much sense. I've always thought of that, not so much not eating, but if you hurt yourself or you get sick, you know, like, or if you break your arm or something where you can't like good luck to you if you haven't set up your business properly. Yep. So for anyone that's setting up the business now, like make sure that you can
weather the storm.
Yeah.
Weather the storm, man.
And test it out. Yeah. See if you can go on just start off by taking one day off. Yeah. Maybe a week off and then see how it runs. And then, because when things go south, right, at least you can start to repair.
100%.
So for us, sometimes we get like tremendously bad clients. Yeah. Right. Like they want the cheapest price. Like they grind you down to the ground. They want the cheapest price and then they want so many things. But I encourage those clients coming on board because it makes us look at our like where we're stuffing up, where our systems are failing. Yep. And when we take them on, like we tell the whole team like keep in mind how we can fix this so it doesn't happen again. Yeah, nice, and how we can make the experience better for the client.
So you're getting money for them to identify problems.
Exactly.
Like, you know.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah. That's awesome.
If I pushed them away, if I said no to these people, we wouldn't find the what's the word I'm looking for?
You would find them, but it'd probably cost you a lot more.
Yeah. But what's the word I'm looking for? The
faults?
No, not fault. The
improvements, or I don't know, system. I don't know, defaults.
It'll come. I don't know. It'll come.
But the key on that is, like, you know, for those that are listening, is understanding what it actually costs your business to run, and how long is it sustainable. If no money was coming in, how long would it be sustainable until you're in the shit? And the thing that I learned was my insurances as well. So when you first take out a business, you're typically a sole trader. So you take out like very basic insurance and, you know, cheaper, whatever. But then if you're in the game for a little bit longer and you start to build up revenue, then the one thing that doesn't normally get looked at again is all the insurance levels, your income protection and, you know, death and disability and all that kind of stuff. And that was something that I realized, especially now that I had a family. I was like, shit, mine was at 500K and I had no income protection. So if I was off for 3 months, then my wife and my family are fucked. Yeah. And so I had to go back and go, hang on, I need insurance to, you know, a couple mil now because circumstances have changed. And then high income protection to weather any storms if something did happen. Yeah. Easily overlooked, man.
Yeah.
Easily overlooked.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely. Like, yeah, especially with a family.
Yeah, massively. Everything's evolving, man. We're constantly evolving.
But we're growing up.
And if we're not, then we're decaying. You know, if we're not growing, we're going backwards. So I think adaptability, flexibility, and Gone are the days of, having a business or a career for 10, 20 years. I can't see that happening in the future, man. Like, I think industries are going to keep getting reshaped and changed.
Yeah, for sure. And with population growth, like that's a big one.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
How can you possibly keep a job when the next person is better than you?
Yeah, and from overseas with 5 more qualifications, especially in Australia. I don't know if you're familiar, but half the population of the world sits just above. So for those that are listening around and that are not from Australia, where we are, there's like, if you draw a circle around the top of Australia, just a small circle, in that circle covers 3.5 billion people. So that circle covers Indonesia, which has got 300 million. It covers China, and just above Australia as an example, and we've only got 24 million.
Yeah.
And so you can see how Australia is this prime real estate for opportunity and whatnot, because we've got half the population of the world. There's China and India just above us.
Yeah, shit.
And Indonesia, so it's massive, yeah.
And it's all vacant.
Well, yeah, most of it's getting cleared out now with the bushfires, yeah. So,
do you reckon that's a...
Well, I don't know. There's are we going to go there? Are we going to go there?
My hairdresser the other day, she was cutting my hair, and she just went straight into this conspiracy.
Yeah. There's a few. There's the rail line one. Have you heard that one?
No.
So there's a proposed rail network that, where the fires are right now, and really tragic event, by the way, like lives have been lost, villages, towns destroyed, the smoke is ruining people. Like, you seen the smoke here in Melbourne, like fucked. Imagine like being 20 k's from the action, man. Like, but through any major event, there's always there's the other side of it, and there's some papers circulating right now suggesting that a speed rail from network. Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, etc., with the proposed plans of creating, I can't remember the word, man. It's like smart hubs, smart city. So the theory is that they're trying to. A lot of these fires have been lit purposefully, and that's been proven. There was a guy that lit about 7 of them, but they're also saying some forms of technology, some like radar thing is actually piecing down and causing a lot of the fires. There's been
on purpose?
On purpose. Ooh. And there's been reports of residents saying that there was an area that was fine, and all of a sudden it was just the fire there.
Really?
And they're like, that's a little bit odd, and the way the fires are paying out. But I'm not going to get into the detail of that. I'm not going to say it's true or not. Either way, it's a horrific fucking thing that's happening. Yeah. But what they're saying is that these smart hubs are going to be created, which is a city next to these stations, which is good, and everyone that was in those homes where they've been burnt down will no longer be able to rebuild there. They're going to come back and rebuild closer to probably the safety zone, they might call it, or whatever. So I guess, it will find out in time if these people aren't able to rebuild in these areas because it's deemed unsafe and they couldn't get access to there quick enough and all those things, and they try to push people closer to towns, and then all of a sudden there is a speed rail network, then coincidence? I don't know. So there was a report on 10 Daily or News Daily about this, which there's been huge traction on social media. So
if this stuff happens, like say this is what's going on, right? Like if they build it in 5 years from now, no one's gonna remember.
True. Very few will. Well, those that have listened to this podcast.
Yeah, now we're onto it. But no one will remember. It'll just be like, no one will give a shit enough to say, like, it was because of that.
Yeah. Well, I tell you who will remember, though, the people that are in those towns, for sure. I reckon. I don't know. Time will tell, man. I haven't done enough research in it to say that I think that this is factual. I'm only going off these reports, and they're always a little bit skewed. There's always another side.
Those conspiracies excite me because, like, and not in a good way, but it's like how can we not at least say that this might be a scenario? Like, you have to look at all the possible scenarios.
100%. Like the fact that the whole country's on fire at the one time.
Yeah.
We haven't had our hottest summer. We have had our driest land, though. And, they're saying that this has been done on purpose. Money was pulled away from the RFS. They revoked 80 million or whatever the number was on their services. They stopped back burning a couple of years ago. And so there's been signs in these reports are saying that this was getting primed, you know, and then there's all this climate change stuff as well. So,
Jesus.
You know, you got a podcast show when shit gets fucking, when shit turns into conspiracies.
We're
man.
not even drinking anything.
Yeah, I know. This is vodka, bro.
I hope that people can recover from this.
100%, man. 100%. Like, I think, and that's what we were talking about before around the landscape changing, around business changing. Like, you know, my old mentor, property guy, a dude came in to see him, and it was the 10th of September. And he's like, hey, Greg, you know, what do you think the market's going to look like, you know, in a few months' time? And he says, my mentor at the time says, like, I don't know. No one knows. No one has the crystal ball. Like, it can change overnight, for better or for worse. Literally the next day, September 11 happened, and it crashed the global market. Like, it killed the market. Prices dropped. Everything was affected. Yeah, stock markets, etc. And so, and he uses that story as not as an analogy, but as a way of saying, well, we've got to be prepared for, you know, to weather the storms, to change and adapt, and not get caught. You know, not get caught with our pants down.
Yeah. How do you as a service business, that's hard to do. Like, we're always worried that, like, you're always trying to find your next customer, even if you're making say $10 million a year in a service business, you're always still looking for the next.
100%. And that's why passive income is king. And so for anyone that's listening now that wants to start a business or that has a business, then the only way that your business can not survive, but the only way that you can be in a position of stability and not untouched growth, but in a strong position, is to be able to create residual income that doesn't require you to work. And then to have that surpass your expenses. Yeah. It's like the cash flow quadrants, you know, Robert Kiyosaki's like methodology. Yeah. Because if you're in that consulting or that service space, you hunt, you kill, you eat, but then you got to hunt, kill, and eat. Again, and so the ability to find a stream of income that comes in that you know provides that ongoing cash flow with limited time or no time, you know, a couple hours a week, whatever it is, that enables you to go and hunt and kill, and knowing that there's that safety net in the background. Yeah. And, you know, for some people that's property and shares, but you need to know what the fuck you're doing in that stuff, man. Yeah. Because if not, that'll just eat your money up. Yeah, I've always said the best way to do business is to exchange your knowledge for money, not your time for money. Yeah, nice. Nice, man. Like you just don't want to. Actually, I can't speak for everyone. For me, I can't work for someone. We become unemployable. Yeah, yeah. Right, we can't be employed because we're at risk of leaving. Yeah. Right, but for people that don't have that entrepreneur mindset or are not wired that way, we need them. We need them though. Exactly, we need them. We 100% need them. Like, don't let everyone tell you need to start a business. Yeah. You know, because if you're changing the world, or say like you're an engineer or you're a doctor or surgeon or whatever, like we need you so bad. Yeah, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah, 100%. Factory workers, we need factory workers. Yeah, yeah, 100%. Truck drivers. Everyone has their place, exactly. Man. Everyone has their place, and everyone's finding their place. Yeah. So the entrepreneur that tries it and then fails, but then it's like, shit, I need money, has to go back into work. Like, you got to just like, you got to eat shit a little bit again till you come back and go, hang on, I got to do this better. Yeah. You know, and I think that's the beauty of it, that especially in our country, we are so blessed that you can actually fail in your business several times and get back on the horse. Like there's fucking opportunities. Yeah. Like you can go get a job at anywhere, man. The news agency, and still pull $700 a week, man. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Where you don't need any qualifications. And so I think that in that sense, we're freaking blessed. Absolutely. Because, you know, some other places, they just don't get that chance, man. Dude, let me ask you, what's the ratio of low risk to high risk decisions that you make in your business? Like, how many high risk decisions will you implement that will take you, say, to the next level, as opposed to smaller decisions that just cruise you along, just slowly get you back to that point? So how many decisions do I need to make, and where are they in terms of risk? Is that how likely are you to make a big risk that could fuck your business? Heaps of times. Yeah. Is that the high risk mentality? The high risk in this social world, in this social world, we're all making high risk decisions, because right now, every single one of us, everyone that's listening to this and watching this, has a profile online. And so every time you open your fucking mouth, you're at high risk.
Yeah.
Because
that's
very
true.
quickly, reputation takes a lifetime to build and a moment to fracture. And so you can say something that's not aligned, like I think it was Gillette that did the ad, and boom, it's like they've got enough loyal customers that it's protected them. But very quickly, prime ministers have been gone in a moment because of what they've said.
Yeah.
And so I think that, you know, in my business, there's a lot of social media presence, there's a lot of communicating, and then there's the numbers and teaching businesses how to sell in a particular way. So there's always risk on that front. But every time I open my mouth, like this podcast can be a risk because I say something, you know, we talk about a particular area and then it causes a big, you know, coup on whatever. And then all of a sudden you're gone in that industry. So I learned in real estate, you know, to always play things with a straight bat, to broaden the shoulders and to feel comfortable. I got told to do things, and not that I followed it completely and you'll laugh at this, but I got told that when you're doing something and no one is watching, pretend there's a camera on you right now and the whole world can flick to channel 8 and they're watching you in that moment. Yeah. And he goes, if you can live like that, and not that I've done that because I probably picked my nose and fucking, you know, done some stupid shit, and I'll admit that. But in the business sense, in the relationship sense, that I've always done my best to adhere to that. And it's the reason why I still get opportunities from past employees, from clients to come and work with them even after the contracts are finished, because I've always left that bridge. I've never burnt it.
That's nice.
I did burn them in my early 20s and late teens before I got this advice. But when I got the advice and I looked back and I'd realized, shit, there's a lot of bridges that are fucking burnt down and they're all my fault. I was like, damn, yeah, okay. How do I rectify that?
What's the biggest bridge that you burnt? What's the one that affected you the most?
The biggest bridge that I burnt, probably when I was an electrician. So I had a really good job, big company. I became service manager. Like I had a team under me, and I was hitting the drugs really bad. I was fucking smashing the drugs, smashing the alcohol on the weekends, and I was blowing up my paycheck every week. And I was getting paid $1,500-$1,600 a week, and that was gone. I was broke by Monday. I wouldn't eat till Wednesday until I got paid again, and then the cycle would continue. And the problem was because of that scene that I was in, I was taking a lot of sick days. You know, I was a little bit sick days here, and then I had a major car accident. A couple of people nearly died. Nearly went to prison for 5 years, and so life was at my worst, my lowest. And the only thing that was propping all of that was the fact that I had actually a really good job. But then one day, you know, lost my license. They had to shuffle things around, and then there was another sick day, and then there was, you know, because I was in the shit, I was rubbing shoulders with the wrong people, pissing people off because I was rocking up late or leaving early. I was just loose cannon. And then the director's like pulls me one day. He's like, dude, here's the envelope, mate. You're made redundant.
Can't do it. Yeah.
Nah, he's just like, man, fuck. You know, I've given you so many chances. And
as a business owner, that probably was the right thing to do for you and for them as well.
100%. But at the time, it hurt because he was like kind of a supportive father that was listening to my shit, heard my story, but I was stuck in the story. I was like, oh yeah, but my childhood this, and you know, my this and my that, and you know, at the start he took that on, but then afterwards he's like, man, dude, you're 24, 25. Like, when the fuck are you gonna grow up?
Yeah.
And so the benefit of that was that he starved the oxygen that was fueling a lot of that lifestyle. And then I realized, you know, and he was very well connected, but I couldn't get a job straight away in another electrical firm or somebody that started out because they all knew my thing. Yeah. I was known as the loose guy that always got fucked up, that always took sickies, not of my capabilities, not of my talent. I was known as that guy. And so when I ring up another guy who had a business that worked there, I'm like, hey dude, he's like, oh yeah, look man. But then I found out he took on 2 other guys 3 weeks later. I'll be like, fuck. And so all of a sudden that industry started to close on me. Yeah. There's only one guy that actually took me on, and I'm still close mates with him now. He's like, oh, I'll throw you a little bit of work, Fabs. He knew I was in the shit, and we clicked on a movie. We gelled on a movie. We both knew the scenes to Friday.
Friday. Yeah.
And because of that connection, he hooked me up through that difficult time, and but that was my biggest bridge.
Wow.
That was burnt, man. So.
Yeah, I get that. Like when people say, I did all this stuff because of say my childhood or whatever, like that keeps you in that fucking realm.
100%, man.
Like you don't move on because
100%.
Like that's you need to get the fuck out.
Married to the excuses, bro. I was married to the reasons rather than the solutions.
Yeah.
Get married to the fucking solutions, man, not the reasons.
Yeah.
You know? It's easy to get caught on why, and I was always getting caught there, man. But how?
It's hard to picture you as that person because I know you.
Yeah.
I've known you for 2 years, maybe.
Probably 2 years, man. Yeah.
And like I would wholeheartedly refer you to every single person that needs any advice or anything or sales or whatever.
No
like
one
without it, but to think that.
No one gets it, and I think even my wife, when her best friend was my first girlfriend in primary school. Like
Really?
It's fucking weird. One of her best friends was my first girlfriend in primary school, man.
Wow.
And when I met Jackie, it was after all that shit. But then I knew she knew Andrea.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck. And I knew she was going to ask Andrea about me. But the last time I saw Andrea was at the end of high school, which this pattern hadn't started yet. And so Andrea was like, oh yeah, Fabien, he's a character, makes you laugh. He's cool. Because she didn't know me from 19 to 27. Yeah. She didn't know about all that stuff because we went different ways and whatnot. And when we got together and she started chatting to some of my friends and they'd seen the flip in me and they're explaining the stories of me to her, she's just like, hang on, are you guys talking about the same guy? Because I don't see that. And, she's an engineer, very logical, very thorough in her decisions. Yeah. So she sussed me out hard. Yeah. But I asked her, if we met then, do you think we would have had a chance? She said, no fucking way. Yeah. She's like, no way, And I'll admit, there's been nights where I've still gotten loose, in our relationship. There's nights where I've dabbled, a little bit of coke. And because I will fall back into... There's too much pressure going on. I need a release, and I will fall back into that pattern of who I used to be. And that's why I've still engaged coaches, like some of the best coaches in this world. I still pay to help me fine tune and course correct, but knowing that we're still going to fucking make mistakes. Like you're still going to slip up. Yeah. And what I've learned is to not beat myself up when I do that. It's just go, okay, what is the triggers that keep pushing me back into there? Yeah, man, yeah. Whereas before I had the baseball bat and I was whacking myself in the head, man, going down, like, fuck, man, all right. I slipped up that night. I fell back into that thing. That's not me, and I found it kept perpetuating because I wasn't treating myself kindly and going, hey, dude, it's okay, man. Like you slipped up. All right, let's look at this. Where's it coming from? And then going back and going, oh shit, when I get into this position, or when something happens within my family dynamics, I revert back to an old version of me. And it's now having the awareness of, that's actually a trigger now, and working through the trigger. And now that's the stuff that I teach my clients because I've been through it and I'm going through it still, Yeah. So, when they say the coach has to have his shit together, I say, well, no, the coach has to be one step ahead at least of their clients, but don't portray that you got your fucking shit together. Like the vulnerability component of, hey guys, I still fuck around sometimes. I still slip up, but we're in this together. So when you do it, don't beat yourself up, Yeah. And I think that's what's enabled me to have the kind of relationships that I have now with a lot of my clients. So what's your plan with all this? So putting the show up,
just content of all my guests, the whole
content for you as well. Yeah.
But I just actually I think we'll just click that. We'll just keep going.
Yeah. Sweet.
This is just content. I just want content so I just want to talk shit. Everything is so structured in business. I just want to be able to people get to know me, get to know you guys on a personal level. Love it. So you guys can use this. So if you ever do want to show your clients or whatever, you can.
For sure, man. For sure. So what in you're doing this so that you can help people come out of the daily grind that they're in. Is that what you're saying? Like the seriousness of business and that, and just take the edge off. I
wanted to start a podcast, but I didn't know what to do. Yeah. So I just wanted to, and I thought, let's just try one. So now we do all this for clients, right? So if someone wants to start their own podcast with their own channel, they just have to come in here. We take care of all the bookings, all that stuff. They just have to get their ass in here for 1 hour a week or a month or whatever, and then we splice it up into so much different content, and then we help them dominate their industry.
Amazing.
But for us, I just wanted to talk. Like, it's nice to talk with your friend.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I feel you, dog.
And then we're gonna look back at this one day, and we're gonna.
Yeah.
You're gonna laugh or cry or whatever.
Yeah, man.
And I think it's nice.
100%.
And it's nice to blow off some steam.
Yeah, man, for sure. I think creating an avenue, and you're right, man, because when you look at a lot of the podcasts that are out there, most of them are geared around strategy. There are some that aren't, like you got your Joe Rogans and all that, but there's a good blend there of smoking weed on the podcast. And have you got any weed, by the way?
Well,
no,
dude,
you know what I mean.
I'd love to like have a drink and stuff and just chill out and relax.
Yeah, true.
But that's at the next podcast. That's the next station.
Yeah, mad.
We're gonna go more state of the art stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, it's about starting, and I think that this is a great. Yeah. You're demonstrating it's like you can go and get the fanciest this and the best that and get caught in all that shit and miss the purpose of just starting and then seeing how it evolves.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be perfect.
But having worked with you in the past and seeing your work from a content creation perspective and your team's ability to edit and then turn that into content that actually converts. That's phenomenal, and the value that you are bringing for this. Like I'm excited to grab some of this content, even though this content's not even geared around the stuff that I'm spitting right now, i.e., sales coaching and how to make more money. It's actually geared around the stuff that I'm more passionate about. As a consequence, will help those that are listening right now. Like, for those that are like kind of in, it's like 9 years ago. 25, I'm nearly in $100,000 debt. Got a court case. I'm stuck on drugs and alcohol. I've lost my job. I've done my knee, and I couldn't even afford to get a knee operation, so I'm on a waiting list for 12 months. And there's thoughts of, fuck, what do I do with my life? Do I end my life? Am I just going to be a bum? Am I going to prison? And the 25-year-old dude just like asking all these questions, and now 34, so 9 years has passed. Married, 2 kids, and successful in real estate, built a business. It's been successful that I've hated a part of it, to be honest, and that's why the pivot's coming on helping men in that field, helping dudes that are in my position. Yeah,
that's nice.
And so anything's fucking possible.
Yeah, exactly.
Anything's possible.
Yeah.
Creating a medium like this is 100% gonna change somebody's life.
Yeah, and I hope anyone listening is like, it doesn't have to be all serious, I hope they're having a laugh. Yeah. Just don't crash your fucking car or anything.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope some are probably fucking listening to this right now, about to have a line of coke. They're like, huh?
Hold
so
on.
you mean I can keep having this and still be successful? Okay.
Have you ever hung around with people that trek like for days?
I've done Everest base camp.
Have you?
Yeah, man. Yeah.
With your wife?
Yeah. We did that, man. So yeah, that was 2 weeks, man.
Crazy. You guys are crazy.
Yeah, that was on our honeymoon too, man. Go figure. Like,
dude, what are you doing?
We're looking at the Maldives, and then all of a sudden I'm like, nah, fuck that.
Let's almost kill ourselves.
Let's go 6 months traveling. And she said to me once that she wanted to do Everest, and I was like, fuck it, let's.
Was that in the dating phase where she's like,
I'd
like to do Everest?
Yeah, because she did like 100K walk, and we done a few 50K charity walks, and so she loves that endurance stuff.
So you were like,
and I said to her, what's next? Like endurance wise, she's like, Everest. I'm like, Everest? I'm like, damn, man. I'm like, all right, cool. Maybe one day.
A brisk walk at sunset through Footscray.
Yeah.
That'll get your heart racing.
Yeah. You won't come back alive. So, yeah, man, that's all we did, man. We're like, fuck it. Let's go against the norm. Like what you're doing here with this shit. Like, let's not follow the trend.
Yeah.
And we packed up and did Southeast Asia for 3 months and then Europe for 3 months, man. We just went hard and base camp was one of them, man.
Nice.
2 weeks, full throttle.
I think my friend's at the base camp right now.
Yeah.
She just did it.
Yeah,
it's
amazing.
really awesome.
Yeah,
the determination. But this girl that I know, she is like, she's just one of those girls that will just like, there's no limitation. Like she did a I think like 100K Oxfam walk or whatever it is. Like she just did it. She trained for like a month and that was it. And I'm like,
just goes and do it. Yeah, I love it, man.
Like the mental strength that you need
for 100K walk
to do that
50K
stuff.
one that was like, oh man.
Yeah.
That was killer. And my missus, she was just flying through it, man. She's like, come on, babe. Like, and I'm like, yeah, all right, sweet. Hang on.
So doing taxes and
hard,
hi mum, how you going?
Yeah, hard, multitasking.
Yeah, but seriously, the determination and mental strength you need to do that shit is just out of this world.
Yeah. Some people, man, like the David Goggins and all those cats. Like one of my clients, actually, I just saw before. past clients. He's training for an ultra marathon now. Because I seen him running in the neighborhood. He's putting it up on Instagram. He's got his socials going. Last run he did was like 15, 17K. I said, what are you training for? Marathon, dude? He's like, nah, something more than that. I'm like, you've been listening to David Goggins? And he's like, yeah, I have. I'm like, how far? And he goes, as far as I can go. I was like, damn. So he's wanting to give it a crack. I mean, what, marathon 42Ks? You know, who knows? So he'll probably just try to go 60, 70, 80. I don't know, man. But,
I get the David Goggins mentality when I do 3 chin-ups.
Yeah. Yeah, that dude's next level, man. Like, but he shows, you know, he's the same as everyone else in the sense of physical, but the ability of where we can actually take ourselves is fucking it's mind-boggling.
For sure.
Mind-boggling.
Yeah, like dude, let's wrap this up.
Let's do it, man.
But can you tell everyone where they can find you?
For sure. So if you're listening, you're watching, hit me up on Facebook, Fabien Pataud, Fabien Pataud. Connect with me. If you're a man or you're in business, you're semi-successful, if you will, you're on 6 figures, and some of the shit that I've been spitting today resonates for you, i.e. you got some really bad habits, and you're a bit disconnected with your relationships, with yourself, with your partner, whoever, and you want to take things to the next level, you've hit some success but you're not satisfied, then you're the kind of person that I want to speak to, man. And so don't be afraid to reach out, and it's not about ego and how big our dicks are. It's more about assessing where we're really at and where we want to go, and that's the kind of people that I'm helping right now, man. So helping you level up and take the next step in your career. So email is Fabien, Fabien at Pataud Consulting, so Pataud Consulting. I'm sure Nick will probably pop that up. And just hit me up, send me a message, tell me where you're at, and let's see if we can help each other out.
Awesome. I fully refer this guy to anyone because he's just genuine. He's very genuine and he cares a lot. So if you reach out to him, expect a lovely relationship with him.
Awesome, man. Thank you for thanks for having me, brother.
Thanks so much, man.
My man.
Let's break the studio. And we're out.